How's it going? It's been a little bit since we made our last Instapot meal, but we have something special planned tonight. We're going to be cooking up a beef and broccoli dish from our Far Eastern friends that I think is going to be quite tasty. The ingredients for this one include, and there's multiple parts, there's the sauce, there's the main part, and a little bit of garnish as well. So, let's cover each of those sections, the ingredients for that. We'll start with the sauce, because that's what we make first. The ingredients in the sauce include 1 tablespoon of garlic, minced, 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger, minced, 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 1/2 cup of soy sauce, low sodium, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, 1 cup of beef broth, low sodium, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, or if you want it a little sweeter, you can use 1/2 cup. So we're going to go ahead and mix that together, and then we're going to include that as the sauce for the main part of the meal, which includes 2 pounds of flank steak, which we cut across the grain, 1/2 cup of water, which we'll include in the Instant Pot itself, and 12 ounces of frozen broccoli in a bag that can be steamed in the bag. The other parts, we have to make a cornstarch slurry. I don't know why that word bothers me, but it does. Basically, you mix cornstarch with water, and you mix it together, in equal parts, very small amounts, in order to create a little sort of a wet pasty thing that you can then put into a sauce to make it thicken up. That's what that's for. Long story short. And then we're going to garnish that with chopped green onions and sesame seeds. Now, if you hear a little bit of humming in the background, we're also simultaneously in the middle of making this week's batch of jerky. You can see that video right up here. In the meantime, hopefully that humming won't bother you, but we'll get to work on putting together this sauce. Alright, so I think they expect you to have the pre-minced garlic that you can just measure out tablespoons. We have fresh garlic, so we're just going to take 2 really healthy sized cloves, and I'm going to basically mince it on a grater here. So we'll start with that in the sauce. And that looks like a good tablespoon. Then we'll go with 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger minced. Now I have this ginger that's frozen in these little cubes, so we're just going to use that. 2 of these should make a nice tablespoon. Alright, that should do fine. 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. 1/2 cup of soy sauce. 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. 1 cup of beef broth. And 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. Alright, we're going to whisk this all together to get the sugar to dissolve. It smells pretty amazing. That sesame oil is something. And we'll go ahead and set aside the sauce mix. Now, what we are going to do, what we are going to do next, we're going to go ahead and pre-mix the cornstarch mixture. So it's 1/3 of a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now the reason you pre-mix this is so that when you actually put it in the sauce, it doesn't come out lumpy. So basically, you're de-lumpifying it. All right, we'll set this aside as well. Now we get to the actual cooking part, and the first thing is we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 pounds of flank steak and cut them across the grain. That way they'll be nice and tender and easy to bite into. So we'll cut these and have these prepped, and then we'll get started cooking. Alright, so as you can see, the grain of the meat goes this way. We're going to cut it across the grain into strips. Alright, we've moved over to the stove area where we have a little more room to operate here. We're going to go ahead and crank up the Instapot in saute mode. And we're going to add, instead of the vegetable oil, we're going to use avocado oil. And then we're going to basically cook the meat in batches. Basically, we put the meat in the bottom of the pot. We let it sear for about 2 minutes, and then we sort of stir fry it in the bottom until it's done. Then we set it aside. So we're going to work through cooking the meat right now. Layer of meat. Once this is done with its initial 2-minute sear, we'll flip it over, saute it for another 2 minutes, and then we'll set it aside. Alright, it's been 2 minutes. We'll go ahead and start stirring and sauteing the meat that's in there. Once it's fully brown, we'll set it aside. Alright, so the meat's done. The next step is, and I've already done this, pour a 1/4 cup of water in the bottom of the pan and just kind of mix it up to get any of the fond, any of the residue off the bottom. And after that, we put the meat back in, put the sauce on top, and get ready to cook. And then we give it a quick stir to combine it before putting the lid on. Alright, now we close the lid, set it to high pressure for 10 minutes, then we give it 10-minute natural pressure cool off, shall we say, and then we'll be able to open it. So once I get this up to heat and pressure, it'll be about 20 minutes. So while that's happening, we'll go ahead and start cooking the rice. And, you know, as this is depressurizing, we'll make the broccoli florets. Basically, they told us to use frozen florets. That's what we're using. So we'll just microwave those real quickly before we stir them in. All right, let's get the meat pressurized and cooked. All right, so we rinsed the basmati rice. It's in. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. So I think I like 20 minutes here. That seems about right with the rest of the meal. So we've got about 5 minutes left on the actual cooking of the beef. When that goes into its depressurization mode, we'll start focusing on the broccoli. All right, the rice is ready. We're going to fluff it and then let it sit without the lid on. We're going to take it off the burner. And so the rice is ready. The meat in 3 minutes will be done with its natural depressurization, and we can go ahead and depressurize it. The next step is we put the what is it? What is it? Cornstarch. The cornstarch mixture in, and then we put this back on saute mode for about 3 minutes in order to get the sauce to thicken up. Then we'll be pretty close to being done. All right, so the meat is done. The meat is done. We have naturally depressurized it. Now we're fully depressurizing it. When this is done, again, we'll add the cornstarch, work on thickening it up. All right, here's our meat after the initial pressure cook. Let's go ahead and add in the cornstarch and we'll mix it in. going to put the Instant Pot back in saute mode and let this cook and bubble and boil until it thickens up. Once that happens, a couple 3 minutes, we will then shut this down and we'll stir in the broccoli, and then we will be ready to serve. It doesn't take very long in saute mode for the juices to get bubbling. The sauce is very rapidly thickening up. Just another couple of minutes, we'll be ready. All right, I think the sauce is thickened up sufficiently, so we're going to go ahead and shut this off. We're going to stir in the broccoli, and we'll get it ready to serve. All right, it's done. It's served. Let's go out to the table and let's give it a taste, see what we think.
Now?
Now.
Ooh! Oh, that looks good.
Doesn't it?
Ooh.
You want to take a bite?
Slurry, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get a little nub of the meat. Mmm.
Good?
Mm-hmm. Kick of spice.
All right, let me go get mine and I'll give it a try too.
Okay.
Whew. All right, been a long day. A little jerky, little beef and broccoli. My feet are sore, but I now get to sit and enjoy all of the fruits of my labor. Wow, that meat was very tender, just fell apart. Mm. Very, very nice. Try a little broccoli. Tell you what, people, that's some good stuff there. Well, beef and broccoli, will it Instapot?
Indeed it will.
Yes, it will. All right, we'll see you later. I'm going to go enjoy this. Bye now.